Some places are meant to be forgotten. Forgotten.
They say the patients who vanished here were never truly gone. And
hallways like these don't just lead deeper into the building. They lead deeper into the past, and into something that shouldn't exist.
Something lingers here. Not a person, not quite alive, but not gone either. In rooms like this, the past doesn't stay buried. It waits, patiently, for someone to notice.
every mark, every stain, tells a story no one was meant to hear.
Outside, the world moves on. Inside, time has no mercy, and neither do the things that linger here.
Objects don't remain still here.
Some rooms don't just hold memories. They hold echoes of those who were never allowed to leave. Here, even the stillest objects seem alive, as if the building itself remembers every scream.
Even in the silence of night, the hospital whispers.
Every hallway here leads somewhere, though not always to where you expect. Some paths climb toward answers. Others climb toward things far older than truth.
I swear I heard that again.
This wall, it's pulsing. My shadow, it just moved on its own.
Stay still. Don't move. I hear something. You're late!
Stairwells in St. Elera were more like throats, swallowing light, sound, and anyone foolish enough to step too deep.
We didn't know what was behind that door, but whatever it wasn't trapped. It was waiting.
Every step we took felt heavier, as if the building itself was deciding whether we would leave or become part of its walls.
In a place like this, fear isn't just felt, it is seen, measured, and it answers back.
The deeper we moved, the more the building seemed alive, as though every shadow, every stain was watching.
In St. Alara, even the ground beneath your feet can't be trusted. And the further you go, the more the hospital decides where you belong.
The walls remember everything. The fear, the pain.
The deeper we went, the more the hospital began to shape reality itself, bending, twisting, and testing us in ways we couldn't comprehend. In St. Alara, reflection isn't reality, and what stares back at you can reach further than you think.
Some doors are meant to stay closed, but curiosity has a way of inviting things out that should never see the light.
Every bed here holds a memory. Some of pain, some of madness, and some that were never meant to be disturbed.
Some presences don't reveal themselves fully. They linger on the edge of sight, waiting for a
The hospital doesn't just store the forgotten, it traps them. Between these walls, time...
Some walls hold memories, others hold prisoners. And in St. Alara, those prisoners are never silent.
Objects here remember. Even those left behind carry echoes of what once dwelled in this place.
Every corridor in St. Alara is a trap, a place where walls and shadows bend, and reality becomes something you can't trust. In a place abandoned by the living, every fallen ceiling, every dripping wall.
Some rooms refuse to be seen. They exist,
Some presences in St. Alara don't just watch, they wait, patient, deliberate, knowing fear before it's even felt.
In St. Alara, nothing remains still for long. Even the walls breathe.
Every passage in St. Alara seems to lead somewhere, and yet each step feels like it takes you.
In St. Lara, rooms are alive. Alive. They hold the echoes of those who never left.
Some beds hold the restless, those who linger between what was and what should never be.
Even the smallest corners in St. Alara hide watchers, shapes that only reveal themselves when you think you're safe. In St. Alara, boundaries are illusions, inside or outside, seen or unseen.
Some rooms in St. Alara aren't just empty. They hunger, they stretch, they watch, and they test those who dare to step inside.
In St. Alara, nothing is stationary. The abandoned moves in ways the living cannot anticipate, and fear feeds on attention.
In St. Alara, what hangs above can be just as alive as what crawls below, and it watches, always watching. Some corners of St. Alara aren't empty. They hold shapes that move, breathe, and wait for the moment you notice them.
Some rooms in St. Alara didn't just remember what happened.
In St. Alara, the halls don't just lead somewhere. They move, they shift, and they decide who makes it through.
Some floors in St. Alara are not solid. They remember every footstep, every...
Even broken walls in St. Alara remember. They remember the trapped, the lost, and now they remember us.
Some rooms in St. Alara are thresholds, places where what waits inside can see you before you see it.
Some corners in St. Alara are alive. They bend reality, stretch fear.
In St. Alara, even the night outside is a part of the hospital. Every shadow, In St. Alara, even what appears abandoned is alive, and it watches, stretches, and waits for a moment of weakness.
Above, below, all around. Sarah's presence.
Corridors in St. Alara aren't just passageways. They're arteries of fear, stretching reality and testing the courage of anyone who dares to walk them. Every doorway in St. Alara is a test, a threshold where what waits beyond may see you long before you see it. Some spaces in St. Alara remember the forgotten. They reach for those who intrude, bending fear into something tangible.
Some shadows in St. Alara are not empty. They breathe, they twist, and they walk.
Every hallway in St. Alara leads deeper into its grasp, and the deeper you go, the less the living rules apply. Even the smallest spaces in St. Alara hide something, shapes that shift and vanish, watching from where you least expect.
Even ceilings in St. Alara are alive. They hold memories.
Some rooms in St. Alara are not merely abandoned. They are alive, and they notice every movement, every breath.
Passages in St. Alara are deceptive. They stretch, they shift, and they remember every footstep of the living.
Some doors in St. Alara aren't meant to be opened, yet they wait, beckoning, daring you to cross their threshold.
It felt like the echoes of the past weren't trapped here. They were reenacting themselves, waiting for someone to notice.
Whatever moved in that room wasn't trying to hide anymore. It was trying to show us exactly what still lived in the dark.
It didn't matter how prepared we thought we were. Nothing could have explained what hit.
Every surface felt wrong, like the building wasn't just abandoned. It was alive, and watching us learn its secrets.
The deeper we went, the more the hospital seemed to blur the line between the people who suffered here and the ones who walked in uninvited.
Something was following us. Or maybe it had always been there, waiting for the moment we finally noticed.
It didn't move like something alive. It moved like a memory the hospital refused to forget.
The hospital wasn't just shifting around us, it was closing in, guiding us towards something it wanted us to see.
Something in that place didn't just watch us, it followed, choosing its moments to remind us we were never alone.
There were things behind those doors, things patient records never mentioned, and no one alive was meant to witness. Even above our heads, St. Alara seemed alive. The shadows moved with intent.
In St. Alara, even empty spaces aren't empty. They breathe, twist, and remember everyone who's ever entered.
Some reflections in St. Alara aren't yours. They belong to the ones who never left, and
Behind some doors, St. Alara kept its memories locked away, but it never forgot to watch anyone who dared to peek inside. Even the forgotten records seemed alive, whispering histories no living soul was meant to read, and warning those who tried.
The records in St. Alara were not meant to be opened. They moved, they watched, and they remembered every intruder.
Even records in St. Alara refused to stay still, and every file, every page carried memories the building wasn't willing to let go.
Even the abandoned garments of the hospital remembered, twisting, watching, and waiting for anyone foolish enough to disturb them.
Even the vents whispered secrets here, hiding shapes that the hospital never meant to release.
Some thresholds weren't doors, they were invitations. And St. Alara always knew who was brave or foolish enough to cross them. Beyond the door, St. Alara didn't just shift rooms, it folded reality, bending corridors and shadows around anyone who dared enter. Even the promise of escape in St. Alara was deceptive, and the closer you get, the more it reminds you who truly controls the path.
Even the walls in St. Alara remembered. They reached, they twisted, and they tested the courage of anyone who dared to pass.
Even the discarded remnants of St. Alara weren't safe. They held echoes of the past, waiting to be noticed.
Every ascent in St. Risk, the building itself seemed to resist.
St. Alara didn't just twist its halls, it twisted perception, making every ascent feel like a climb into something far older and far darker than the building itself. Every step higher in St. Alara brought us closer to what the building wanted, and further from anything that resembled safety.
This was the final threshold. The place St. Alara had been guiding us toward all along, and it...
This was the heart of St. Alara, where every memory, every shadow, and every secret could...
In St. Alara, even objects remembered, moving, reaching, and mocking anyone who dared disturb them.
Reflections in St. Alara were never true, and they showed what the building wanted you to see, and nothing more.
This was the heart of St. Alara's memory. Every shadow, every whisper, every echo converged.
Even the instruments here carried memory, fragments of fear, pain, and despair that the building refused to release.
Some darkness in St. Hilara wasn't empty, it was alive, watching, waiting, feeding on every step we took.
Above us, the memories of St. Alara twisted and waited, shadows that never slept, all...
Even broken surfaces in St. Alara remembered, showing horrors that weren't always there, and shadows that never forgot.
Every object in St. Alara held echoes, traces of fear and pain, waiting for anyone who dared approach. Even the remnants of procedures long forgotten remembered,
twisting, watching, and waiting for anyone who dared disturb them.
Even the instruments here carried memory, echoes of fear, pain, and forgotten screams, waiting to be witnessed. Even the remnants of privacy in Saint Ilara remembered, twisting, watching, and waiting for anyone who dared approach. Even the abandoned gurneys remembered, echoes of pain, fear, and despair, lingering long after the living had gone. Some doors in Saint Ilara weren't meant to be opened, yet they waited, patient, aware, and hungry for those who dared approach. Saint Ilara twisted the hallways. Every step forward brought shadows closer, as if the building itself was alive and aware of our presence. Even the smallest corners of Saint Ilara held life, or something like it, watching, waiting, and testing every nerve.
This was the heart of Saint Ilara, the final threshold.